but everyone is a photographer now. Uh, That was told to me by a photographer as a reason why their business was struggling. Well, everyone's a photographer now, so it's much harder to stand out and to make a business that works. And I said, "Well, I've heard the exact same thing for the last 20 years of my career, ever since I started in this industry, and I've never had it once impact my business."
Are you tired of the endless stream of fantasy marketing and vanity metrics? Yeah, so am I. My name is James Patrick, and I'm an internationally published photographer, media specialist, and marketing strategist. I'm also a student of professional development, and like you, I've been left frustrated by all of this influencer driven generic advice, making us think that we are just one course, conference, or manifestation away from the life of our dreams. We need to cut through this crap and move beyond the posturing, beyond the facade, beyond the image to take real action on the real work that will create the real results. This is the Beyond the Image podcast.
What is going on? And thank you so much for tuning into our recent episode of the Beyond the Image podcast. So, as I mentioned, I was having a session where a photographer was telling me that the reason they were struggling to grow their business, why their brand was not saying out, is because, well, everyone's a photographer nowadays. Now, sub out photography for any industry that you are in. Well, everyone's a personal trainer now, everyone's a coach now. Seems like everyone is an influencer now, everyone has their own brand now. Now, for 20 years within my career as a photographer, people have told me that the photography market is too saturated. I've heard it every single year since I first picked up a camera. I've heard that there are too many young and new competitors within the industry, that these young and new competitors are charging too low of rates and they're driving down the market. I've been told that it is no longer possible to build a business within this industry anymore. I was told that 20 years ago. Now, if that is what you believe in whatever industry you happen to be in, then it's going to be true. If you believe that there is too much competition, that it's too hard to stand out, that no one in the market respects your rates or your experience, you'll be right. If you instead, however, believe that it is actually consumer demand that dictates what happens within an industry, that your job security is about your ability to pivot and supply that demand, and how that demand shifts over time, well, that changes everything. Now, that's far easier said than done. But when you look at it from that perspective, that consumer demand will shift an industry, and your responsibility is to supply that demand, to be able to anticipate and have your finger on the pulse of what your consumers want today and what they're going to want tomorrow. That right there will keep you competitive in a marketplace. When I look at my career as a photographer, how I serve my clients has adjusted time and time again over 20 years. And the deliverables that I provide now as a photographer versus 20 years ago, as well as how the service is structured, has changed and has evolved to meet the consumer demand. Now, this mindset and this viewpoint keeps your career, your work, your business, your brand within your control. Because when you blame outside factors, it's other people in the industry, it's too crowded, it's too saturated, they're driving the market down, they're giving away too many services, they're not charging enough. Well, then it's all out of your hand. Nothing you can do. And that gets reinforced because you're not willing to navigate it. You're not willing to think critically about it because you've already adopted that self-defeating posture. I can't compete in this market. And that will be true for you. And it will also be true for you if you decide, I'm going to look to see what consumers want today. I'm going to strategize on how I can best serve them tomorrow. Then that will be true. It's up to you what you choose. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you in the next episode.